That $5 shirt you're wearing right now, someone got paid 11 cents to make it. And that's not even the darkest part of this story.
Because every single thing around you, everything you think you earned through hard work, exists because someone else worked harder for almost nothing. And here's what nobody wants you to realize. You're next in line. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will change how you see everything. Look around your room right now. Your phone, your clothes, your furniture, that coffee you're drinking, the laptop or phone you're watching this on. I want you to pick one thing, just one. Now ask yourself, who made this? Because I guarantee you, it wasn't made by someone earning a living wage.
It was made by someone who can't afford the very thing they spent hours creating for you. And before you think this is some guilt trip, it's not. This is about understanding the game. Because you're not just the consumer in this story. You're also the worker. And the same system exploiting them is exploiting you. I believe you.
But what if I told you that the reason you have to work so hard, the reason you're exhausted, the reason you can barely save anything, is because this same system has been designed to extract every ounce of value from you while giving you just enough to survive?
Let me show you exactly how this works and why understanding this is the most important thing you'll learn this year. Here's the reality nobody talks about. Every fortune, every empire, every wealthy nation, every billionaire you've ever heard of was built on the backs of people who were paid as little as humanly possible. That's not my opinion.
That's not political. That's just history. And it's happening right now, today, as you watch this. The Industrial Revolution that everyone celebrates? Child laborers, some as young as 5 years old, working 16-hour days in factories for pennies.
They lost fingers in machines. They died from exhaustion. And the factory owners became the wealthiest people in history. The American railroad system that connected a nation? Chinese immigrants paid a fraction of what white workers earned, doing the most dangerous jobs. Thousands died. Their bodies are literally buried under the tracks. Nobody remembers their names, but everyone knows the names of the railroad barons who became millionaires. Today's tech giants, the ones we admire, the ones we aspire to work for, cobalt miners in the Democratic Republic of Congo, including children as young as 7, earning $2 a day, dying in collapsed mines, so you can have a smartphone that you'll replace in 2 years.
But here's where it gets personal for you, and this is what they really don't want you to understand. Your country, whatever country you're in right now, participated in this, is participating in this, right now.
And the wealth gap you see? The reason some people have billions while you're struggling to pay rent, struggling to afford healthcare, struggling to imagine ever retiring, it all traces back to one simple principle. Those who control cheap labor control wealth.
And they will do anything to keep it that way. Let me break down exactly how this works, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I mean that literally. After this video, you'll see this everywhere. Step 1. A company needs to make a product. Let's say shoes. They could make them locally, pay workers $20 an hour with benefits, proper working conditions, safety standards, and sell the shoes for $150.
But then their competitor finds a factory in Bangladesh where workers make 90 cents an hour, no benefits, no safety regulations, working 70-hour weeks. Same shoe, $30 price tag. Who wins? The company with cheap labor dominates the market. Who loses? The local workers who just lost their jobs and can't find new ones because every company follows the same model.
And the Bangladeshi workers being exploited have no choice because it's either this or starvation. Step 2. The profit margins are insane. That $30 shoe cost $4 to make. Materials, labor, shipping, everything.
The company pockets $26 per shoe. Multiply that by millions of units. Now you understand how billionaires are made. Not through innovation, not through hard work, through exploitation at scale. Step 3. This profit doesn't go to workers. It goes to shareholders, to executives, to people who never touched a factory floor, who never designed a shoe, who contribute nothing to the actual creation of value. The wealth accumulates at the top, while the people actually creating the value, the ones doing the work, get crumbs. But here's step 4, and this is the trap. You need those cheap products because your wages haven't gone up either. Adjusted for inflation, you're making less than your parents did, way less. So you're forced to buy from the same companies that are keeping you poor because you can't afford the alternative. See the cycle?
They suppress wages globally, which suppresses your wages, which forces you to buy cheap products, which requires exploited labor, which suppresses wages globally. It's a loop, and you're stuck in it. We all are.
And here's the genius of it. They've convinced you that this is just how economics works, that this is natural, that there's no other way. But there is. There always has been. They just don't want you to know that.
This isn't new. This is the oldest story in human civilization. Let me take you through history because the patterns are identical across centuries. Slavery, the most extreme form of cheap labor, zero wages, maximum extraction. The entire economy of the American South was built on it. Cotton made America rich, one of the wealthiest nations on earth. But the people picking that cotton, they got nothing. No wages, no freedom, no humanity.
After abolition, did things get better? No. Sharecropping replaced it. Different name, same exploitation. Former slaves now had to rent land from their former owners, buy supplies at inflated prices, and somehow survive on what was left, which was nothing.
Colonialism. Europe didn't get wealthy by accident or innovation. Britain extracted $45 trillion from India over 2 centuries. $45 trillion. That's more than the entire GDP of the United States today. How? Forced labor, cheap labor, stolen resources. They took spices, textiles, minerals, tea, everything. Paid nothing, or close to nothing, sold it in Europe for massive profit. That's the blueprint. France did it in Africa, Spain did it in South America. Belgium did it in Congo so brutally that 10 million people died. The factories of the 1900s, your great-grandparents probably worked in them. No safety regulations, no minimum wage, no weekends. Workers died on the job regularly, and they were just replaced the next day. Children worked alongside adults. The wealthy factory owners became dynasties, names you still recognize today. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt. The workers? They got black lung, broken bodies, and early graves. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in 1911.
146 garment workers, mostly young immigrant women, burned to death or jumped to their deaths because the factory owners locked the exit doors to prevent workers from taking breaks. The owners were fined $75.
$75 for 146 lives. Fast forward to today. The factories moved overseas, but the model stayed the same. Different country, same exploitation. Bangladesh factory collapse in 2013. Rana Plaza.
1,100 garment workers crushed to death making clothes for Western brands. Workers had complained the building was unsafe. They were told to come to work anyway or lose their jobs. They came to work. The building collapsed. And the descendants of those factory owners, they're still wealthy. Generational wealth built on generational exploitation. The cycle never broke. It just moved. Let's talk about right now, your reality. Because you might think this is history, but it's happening right now, and it's happening to you. The gig economy. You think you're your own boss, driving for Uber or delivering food or doing freelance work? You're cheap labor with no benefits, no job security, no protections. The company makes billions. You make less than minimum wage after expenses, after gas, after maintenance, after taxes. It's exploitation with good marketing. Fast fashion. That trendy outfit you bought online for $15? Made by someone in a factory in Bangladesh or Vietnam with no air conditioning in 100-degree heat, working 14-hour shifts, earning $60 a month. $60 a month. Companies like Shein produce 800 new styles per day. 800.
How is that possible? Cheap labor working at inhuman speeds under inhuman conditions. Your food.
Farm workers picking your strawberries, your lettuce, your tomatoes in California, Florida, everywhere, make minimum wage or less, often without breaks, in extreme heat, exposed to pesticides with no health care.
Meanwhile, the grocery store chain marks up that produce by 300%, and the CEO makes 800 times what the workers make. 800 times. Tech devices. The smartphone in your hand, the laptop you're using, contains minerals mined by people in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Cobalt, lithium, rare earth elements. They work in collapsed tunnels, without safety equipment, breathing toxic dust, for $2 a day. Children as young as 7 carry 60-pound bags of rocks on their backs. Apple is worth $3 trillion. Samsung, $2 trillion. Microsoft, $3 trillion. Connect those dots. Amazon warehouses. Workers track every second of their day. They're timed on bathroom breaks. They're monitored by AI. They walk 15 miles a day picking items. They make $15 an hour in most places. No chairs, no sitting. Injuries are common. Union organizing is crushed. Jeff Bezos is worth $200 billion. He makes more in 1 second than his workers make in a week. Your coffee. Coffee farmers in Ethiopia, Colombia, Vietnam earn less than $1 a day. They can't afford to drink the coffee they grow. Starbucks makes $32 billion a year in revenue. The farmers can't send their kids to school. Your chocolate. 70% of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa. Child slavery is rampant. Children trafficked from neighboring countries work on cocoa farms, unpaid, beaten, unable to leave. Hershey, Mars, Nestle, they all know. They've known for decades. They promised to fix it. They haven't. Here's what makes this devastating. You probably can't afford to avoid it, because they've engineered the economy so that ethical consumption is a luxury. You want fair trade coffee? That's $7. Regular coffee? $2. You want ethically made clothes? That's $60 for a shirt. Fast fashion? $6. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, when you're choosing between rent and groceries, you don't have a choice. And they know that. That's intentional.
Now, here's why you need to care beyond moral reasons. Because this isn't just about other people. This is about you, right now. Your wages are kept low using the exact same logic.
They benchmark your salary against cheaper alternatives. Remote workers in other countries, AI tools, contractors with no benefits, unpaid interns. You're in competition with cheap labor globally, even if you never leave your city. That job you applied for? They're comparing you to someone in the Philippines who'll do it for a quarter of your asking price. Someone in India who'll do it for a fifth. Your wage is determined by the cheapest person willing to do your job anywhere in the world, not by the value you create. The wealth you generate doesn't stay with you. If you work for a company, you create value. Let's say you bring in $100,000 of value per year through your work. You get paid $40,000. Where does the other $60,000 go? Up the chain, to managers, executives, shareholders.